You know, they say that only 1% of the people on this planet actually play a musical instrument. Well, I know why. Because it's just so hard to do. That's me, Caben Thomas. I play tuba. Music is my life. It is who I am. It's as important to me as breathing. But right now, I'm drowning, trying to get this doggone piece under my fingers. The problem is it was written over 130 years ago for this thing, the ophicleide, a slightly higher-pitched instrument long since gone the way of the dinosaur. So why am I trying to play all these high notes on the tuba? Well, believe it or not, it's because this man asked me to. His name is Richard Rosenberg. Don't let the kazoo fool you. Richard has conducted major symphony orchestras all over the world. He trained with the best, Leonard Bernstein, Aaron Copland, Lauren Mazel. In the summer of 1983, he was a rising young conductor at the Aspen Music Festival when something happened that changed his path forever. He met a young choral conductor named Laura Schneier. Within a week, they were engaged. Even before they met that summer, Richard and Laura were beginning to sense that something was wrong in the world of classical music. They dreamed of starting a new kind of music festival.
Fortunately, both of us were too young in our careers at that point to have been disillusioned ourselves, but we saw other musicians being disillusioned, and we saw them getting to the point where they were not having the joy in the process of making music.
Where everyone watches their clocks much more than the music. And I wanted to create an army of musicians who are in music because they love it and not because their parents forced them to practice 5 hours a day when they were children.
We envisioned a place where musicians could be nurtured at the beginning of their professional career, where they could explore musically and where they could be given some guidance professionally so it wouldn't seem so frightening the first time out of the box.
At that festival in 1983 in Aspen, we knew that eventually we would want to do something like this, that there needed to be a festival that helped to bridge the gap between being a student and being a professional. So it was a dream that we had for a good decade before we embarked upon it.
Sorry, yeah, thank you. The nazaza sounds a little bit Arkansan.
In 1995, after visiting 47 states, the Rosenbergs decided this would be the best place to start their music festival. Hot Springs, Arkansas. Not exactly the center of the universe when it comes to classical music, but a town with a colorful past, set in a beautiful national park, where steaming water bubbles up from underground. And signs remind tourists that Bill Clinton once played saxophone here in the high school band. In a few days, the 4th annual Hot Springs Music Festival will begin. And I'll be here with my tuba, along with 170 other musicians from 18 countries. For 2 weeks, we're gonna fill this town with a beautiful sound. The sound of dreams coming true.
If you want to get a job performing flute, it's like next to impossible. There's flutists everywhere. And it's like, if you really want to play flute, and that's what I really, really want to do, because I love it, you have to work at it.
Mercedes Smith is an unbelievable player. She is Miss Focus, and that is it, man. You've got to focus. She's gonna get what she wants, because you can see it. You can see the burn in her eyes. And she's so young, 16 years old. She'll be the youngest apprentice at this year's festival. To be an apprentice, you have to audition, and the competition is tough. At the festival, Mercedes will be teamed up with a mentor, a professional musician. And even though she's not a pro, she'll be expected to play like one. Now, there are many Opha-Clydes like it, but this one, for the next 2 weeks, is your baby. So the first notes. As Todd Cranson's tuba mentor, it is my duty to introduce him to a taste of history, the Opha-Clyde.
The brass mouthpiece wasn't finished, and so it tasted bad. But I thought if I worked hard enough, I could play it.
Todd is one of the best students I've ever had. He loves a challenge. Secretly, I'm hoping he can learn to play this thing well enough to handle the solo I've been struggling with on tuba. He wants to give it a shot, but you know, he's young, enthusiastic. He reminds me of myself at that age, except he's white and thinner and smarter, you know. But I say, go for it, baby.
Okay, you're on. Got it? Yeah, we're going to do the CD recording.
That's something new for this year's festival. We'll be recording some interesting music Richard dug out of the French National Library in Paris. They're pieces written by a group of composers known as the Creole Romantics, free black men who fled New Orleans before the Civil War to live and work in France.
It's like finding a buried treasure. This is music, important music from American composers from the 19th century that was beloved in its own time and completely unknown nowadays. I transcribed this music fully expecting it to be played on the tuba. When we found out that there was an Opha-Clyde in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, we certainly decided to give it a whirl. And I was thrilled that Todd was willing to learn it.
Both Todd and Mercedes are headed off for an experience they have never had before. Learning music in days, performing it for audiences, and having to be absolutely perfect. I mean, these are some of the best players in the country coming down here to perform.
Put your room assignment over there, okay? Hi. Thank you. Hi. Hello, Liana.
There are people who are hell-bent for leather when it comes to wanting a career in music.
They are from everywhere, and it's very interesting how diverse they are as a group. We'll have people checking in who are 18, and we'll have people checking in who are 33, and it needs to be clear to them from the way we handle every aspect of the check-in, of the housing, that they are equal participants in the pool of musicians here.
Ow!
Oh, did I get you?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
that was my head. It's okay.
What Laura really means is, whether you're coming to the festival as a mentor or as an apprentice, this is where you're going to live. The Arkansas School for Math and Sciences. It's not the Ritz, it's a dormitory. You know, a lot of concrete and bad furniture. They say it used to be a hospital. I mean, people died in here. But we're not complaining because it's free.
It works. Wow.
The use of the building is donated to the festival by the school. That's one of the things that makes the Hot Springs Music Festival really different. The apprentices pay no tuition for the experience. They just have to get here.
Come to orientation tomorrow morning. Come early if you want coffee and strudel.
I really didn't believe it was going to happen until that first orientation meeting when we sat in the chapel at the Math and Science School and saw the 90 musicians who arrived for that first festival. It wasn't until that moment that it really struck that we had accomplished something.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's
Right.
do it. All right, we'll figure out the other stuff as we go. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. We are extremely glad to have all of you here. A great deal of information needs to be given them in a short period of time.
You will meet your mentors, those who are here, at the conclusion of this session, and they will assign the parts to you.
That's what's going on the surface. Underneath, what is happening, even without their realizing it, is that they're starting to build that community. If this group of musicians did not become a community almost instantaneously, the musical aspect of what we do would not be possible.
For those of you who are wondering exactly how far we would go for this music festival, the '98 commemorative poster.
We put our butts on the line.